Hello, everybody. I'm really excited to do an interview today. I've got somebody with me who has gone through an experience that I'm sure many people in this audience are going to resonate with. And just know that you're not alone out there if you're searching for jobs and not getting results. As I introduce my special guest, keep in mind something unique about her. She's traveled the world, she's had a range of jobs spanning dozens of different industries. And despite that, she has still gone through the process in a situation where she's had to do a job search after being laid off. Everyone, I would love to introduce Taireez Niswander. Taireez, so good to have you here today. I'm really looking forward to going through and hearing the details about your story.
Now, thank you so much, Steve, for having me. Yes, definitely a frustrating situation, especially now.
Let's just give the audience a little bit of a background. You've traveled the world,
Mhm.
and then I think you came back to the United States and you have a job. And
Yep,
then what happened?
I was in government contracting, and the job that I was working in was government contract accounting. And so I was in marketing, helping them to get bigger and get noticed. And they got noticed by a bigger company who then came along and scooped it up. Then they only needed the accountants. They didn't need anybody in marketing. So then I was left. And it really threw me for a loop because it's the first time in my 57 years that I have been unemployed. I started working at 16 and I've never been unemployed. I'm always doing something. So to be laid off was a real surprise. But the bigger surprise came when I applied for unemployment here in Washington State. And I was asked to go to the orientation sessions and whatnot to figure out, okay, so how do you do a resume? How do you do a cover letter? All this kind of stuff. And to my ultimate horror, I found out that they're using applicant tracking systems, which are run by AI. Now, I have been in AI for a minute and know how things go. And so I was looking around the room and I thought, how are these people going to figure this out? There was a complete disconnect. And I could see that when they were explaining the ATS systems and you had to have keywords and phrases and whatnot in it, that these people
So I
were
want to
never
back
going to be able to think.
I want to back up for a moment.
Okay.
Describe for me, what is an ATS platform? What does it do? What's the intention?
So the ATS systems applicant tracking system was created so that companies could hire people faster. So the
Got it.
intent was good in that the application tracking system was supposed to go into a resume and see if you fit the job that you're applying for. But now it's kind of gone all this. The pendulum has swung over to the extreme end where even if you are experienced and you are a good fit for that job, you may be kicked out simply because you don't know how the applicant tracking system has been programmed and what it is looking for in your resume. It's got more to do with cadence and what's the word I'm looking for? The nuance than it is actual experience.
So what's probably happening is you have a number of people who are applying for dozens of jobs and they're getting the rejection notice quickly because there are missing elements in their job application package because they don't know what those elements that they're missing are. And that's embedded
Cool.
into the ATS platforms,
That's
correct?
correct. Yeah. Mhm.
So you learned this during your job force training. That was a requirement as a result of being on unemployment, right?
That's right. And I actually, they didn't have anything on ATSs. So I told the counselor, I said, okay, so you're teaching us how to do resumes, you're teaching us how to do cover letters. So do you have one about how ATS systems are using it? And she said, no, I'm working on that. And I said, well, could we work a little bit faster on that? Because I think that everybody should know what it is. I mean, it's one thing to say that these are the things that are required. It's another thing entirely to try to get that information into a resume in the way that the ATS system is trying to make you follow. So it's a sort of a catch-22. You do have the information, but you don't know how to do it. And if you have the information, you still don't know how to do it because no one's told you how to do it. So it's kind of this circle that you go around in.
So they told you about the platforms, but they didn't have the guidance for how to adapt your application package to align with those.
Yeah, they just told you that you to be aware of it. And in my opinion, being aware is just not good enough. And so fast forward, she put a course together. And then that's when it was a 3-hour course that I sat through where she actually went through every single thing that an ATS system does. And that's when I took copious notes and then worked that into my application that I created.
So an extremely long course, but dense with information.
Yeah. I don't
So
even think
I
she
think,
realized how much information she was going to be talking about.
and that's extremely useful. And I think part of what we're going to demonstrate a portion of is what you did afterwards in order to leverage that information that you received in that training program, correct?
Yeah,
So
because it
describe for me just quickly after you left that really long course, but you had all that not secret information, but behind the scenes information about how these ATS software platforms work. What did you do next?
so for to begin with, I was just to get the resume and cover letter done, I thought I have to use AI somehow because the very first one I tried to create took me hours upon hours. And I thought, oh my God, I don't have time for this. I need to move it along quicker. So then I created prompts on how to create the resume, how to create the cover letter. Then when I got to after the ATS thing, then I wrote another prompt that then pulled in the requirements for the ATS system. And that's when I also thought, well, hold on a second. I know I might actually have the experience for a job, but I don't know if I actually fit that job given the experience that's in my resume, because we might have the experience having done something differently, but the way that we express it in the new resume for that company, it doesn't translate. So that's when I thought, okay, how do I fit this job? And I decided, okay, instead of applying for a job regardless, let's see how well you fit first before you move forward and waste any time. So did that first. Then the ATS system protocols kick in and then create the resume. And then with the cover letter, when your score, let's pretend it was 75, then there's 25 missing, it will, in the cover letter, take the transferable skills and put those in so that it strengthens your application altogether.
So if I understand everything you told me correctly, you built a whole range of prompts to use with AI to help with the cover letter, help with a resume. Those are the obvious things. But then there are the deeper things, which analyzes your job experience, your work experience, and does some alignment with the job application that you're looking at, and then combines what you've done to be relevant for this job. And it helps you evaluate your experience with respect to the job that you want to apply for.
Yeah,
Is
because
that
there's
right?
no point in applying for a job if you think we sometimes we think we know we can do the job, but we haven't been able to express that we know we can do the job. Two different things.
I think the little hidden secret embedded in all of this is when you have your resume and cover letter that aligns your work experience to the job that you're applying for. I'm guessing that's probably how you optimize it for the application tracking systems.
100%.
Okay. I want to try this out. Can we do a test?
Sure thing. Okay, let's go. So
Okay.
first, what we want to do is we want to grab your LinkedIn profile. In LinkedIn, you would go over to your profile, and previously you could create your own custom resume, but you can't do that anymore because now LinkedIn wants you to
Mhm.
pay for that service through their premium subscription. And it used to
Okay.
be,
Got
it
it.
used to live under 3 dots just above the word resources there. It used to be in
Okay.
that
Right
neighborhood.
there.
Yeah. So
So
now
you,
you can, so now if you click on resources, now you can save to PDF. Now, before you save to PDF though, you want to make sure that all your jobs are all aligned, and then you create that PDF and then you can go for it.
okay. So for me, we'll obviously skip that because I'm an entrepreneur and run my own business. However, if I was in a situation where I was applying for a role, I would want to spend the time to optimize my LinkedIn profile differently than it is now to reflect that I'm
Correct.
searching for a job and showcasing the skills that are probably most relevant to recruiters and HR personnel who are in the hiring
That's
business.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
So we'll take some liberties. The other thing that I just wanted to highlight that you mentioned, and I did not know this, is that LinkedIn used to have a resume builder tool, but it sounds like that they have hidden that and it's now a paid for service. So we're
Correct.
going to show you how you can use AI to develop your own resume and not get stuck into the trap of paying somebody else to do it for you. And we're going to give you even more capabilities than you would have received with the LinkedIn tool when it was there.
Well, that's
Okay.
right.
So I did download my profile.
Okay, good.
And what's next?
So now we're going to go up to the jobs tab.
Okay. And there we go. And
Yep.
I know we did a little bit of practice first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a job that I already found
Okay.
just so we can, and I live in Eugene, Oregon. So a realistic job search for me would be in my region or a remote job. And I put something that I was interested in, marketing, AI, just to keep it pretty broad.
Okay. So all we want to do is copy the about section of the description of the job.
Okay. So I'm looking at this
the word about. Sorry.
Okay. So I've got the top job clicked. I'm not getting too particular about which job, but I see where you said click on about the job.
Yep. And then select that whole section. You don't have to include benefits and anything that's irrelevant to your job skills, but you want to make sure that you have the requirements and whatnot included.
Okay. So I've stopped my copy selection right below the required skills, but it did not include benefits. And I get what you're saying here. You're saying grab everything about the job description that is relevant to what you do in that role and the type of skills and people that they're looking for.
Correct.
Okay.
Now we're going to copy and paste this into the chat GPT.
Okay.
The custom chat.
Now what we're looking at here is your custom GPT, which has got all of the built-in prompts and all of the back-end information about application tracking systems. So this is something that you developed after taking that course and going through the job application process yourself.
Yeah, because I was just not interested in spending hours and hours. I wanted, and in fact, the Washington State only requires you to do 3 jobs a week because that's how long it takes. With my tool, I can do 3 jobs in an hour.
I'm getting this sense of I'm going to believe that. And I think it's really important to know this is not just a all-purpose generic chat GPT prompt that we're in. We're in your custom GPT and it is optimized for the job search experience.
Right.
Okay. So tell me what I need to do next.
Okay. So we're going to the copy and paste the job into the box there, the comment box.
Okay. We've got everything in there.
Great. Then we're going to update the PDF that we created of your resume, your LinkedIn.
Okay. My LinkedIn profile PDF. So I've got that over here. I'm just going to drop it in.
Perfect. And now we can just hit enter.
Okay. So I'm going to go and it's analyzing everything and I'll scroll down to keep up with it.
So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to do a job fit analysis, and it's telling you then it's going to do a resume and cover letter for you. So it says, let's begin with the fit analysis.
Okay. I'm just going to copy that and paste it in. And those of you who've never used AI before, you can just type in what you want it to do. And I'm going to go step by step and copy and paste. This is amazing because already it's the one thing I don't like about the job search process is it's really difficult to talk about me when I'm going through it. So as I'm writing a resume or even updating LinkedIn within my work experience, I don't like doing that work. So it's bringing all of this to the front and it's a little bit easier. It's like having somebody there saying, hey, Steve, I see all this background and here's some information about you. And now I'm all of a sudden, instead of trying to create something, I'm in editing mode, which I think is a lot easier to be an objective editor when you're talking about yourself.
That's right.
But here's the bad news. It's not.
But you know what? Just for fun, let's see how well your new cover letter and resume fit after we've put in the transferable skills and other skills that you can bring to bear to that particular job after the AI has gone through your CV.
Okay, so we'll remember this score. So what
Mhm.
is the next step that I should move forward with?
So it will ask you, for example, it says, would you like to move forward with the resume optimization? And you just want to say yes.
All right.
And then it will create a resume for you. So it's taking all
Now,
the information from your CV, going into the job description, choosing only what that job description requires so that then it translates into a strong resume for you.
wow, this is amazing. One thing that comes to mind as I'm looking through this, because I'm like thinking like, wow, somebody just wrote all this good stuff about me. I think there's a responsibility on my part to make sure that none of this is embellished, that it is factual and accurate.
Uh-huh.
AI makes things sound so believable, but I think that the magic here is I can do that. I have no issues at all with doing that. That's my responsibility. But AI is writing it in such a way that would be challenging for me to do during a job search. It'd be one of those things that would take this process and turn it into hours.
That's why it's so difficult to pass an ATS system and get a job. It's simply
Wow.
because of this. And I also want to really emphasize that I wanted to create a product that is responsible and ethically correct. I'm not interested in having AI just simply create a resume or cover letter for you. I'm not interested in having something create such a difference between your experience and then your actual then and the job. Because if you go to an interview and they asked you about an experience that you've actually laid out into that resume, how are you going to explain it if that is not you?
Agree.
So I've tried I put due diligence into my prompts to make sure that it's just grabbing information from your information and from nowhere else, not from the internet. No, at no time is it going to bring in outside information. And if it does, it's probably an anomaly somewhere here and there. But that's our responsibility. We've got to make
Yep.
sure. But this is
Yep.
getting you 80% of the way there.
I agree. I agree. And I love the term of 80% because it underscores that there's still 20% of work to be done by us as human beings. And especially when it's our name and brand and reputation on the line, that
That's
is
right.
a significant responsibility. So I agree. I'm really curious before we move on with the cover letter draft. I just want to ask it if it changes my score.
Oh, sure. We're good.
I'm curious, and I know I'm jumping the gun, but let's just assume I liked everything in that resume.
Okay, let's see. You're at 64.4 before, I believe.
That is correct.
Oh,
All right,
you're
so
up
we've
to 70.
improved
You've
a
already come up to.
significant. All right, so yeah, I want to do the cover letter. Is that the next step?
Yep. Mhm.
All right. I'm already amazed by this because it's doing so much work so quickly that I can focus on a lot of the other details that just would normally be psychological blockers for me. And this is making it easier. So now we've got a cover letter.
Now, with the cover letter, you can use your own voice. So I would suggest writing out a paragraph about anything that you want so that it knows your voice and you can copy and paste that into the box. I would not upload it as a file because then it's going to actually block you from doing that. So,
Right, because
but
you're protecting your chat GPT from people uploading files to have some embedded prompts that does things. So you got some code in there to prevent that.
correct. And now we can do it again if you want. If you want to see what the score is, we can see if there's any improvement. So you went from 64.4 to 77.
So what I'm
Oh,
gonna
you
do
didn't
really
put your
quickly,
device pause. Sure. Okay,
yeah, I'm
let's.
gonna put my writing style guide in because this
Okay.
doesn't sound like my voice.
Okay.
It's
Mhm.
not bad, but I know that for the audience out there, they're gonna look at this and say, "Well, how do I rewrite it?" Now I have to edit the whole letter because it sounds like AI wrote it.
Right.
And there are a lot of ways you can get a style guide to sound just like you. And my process, and I've made a video about this on my YouTube channel, is
Fantastic.
you can use a transcript from a presentation that you've made or some writing samples, and you can create your own writing style guide. And so that's what I'm putting in here.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot in there, but I've been using this for quite a bit now, and it changes everything with respect to content. So
Fantastic.
let's see. I didn't tell it to rewrite it, so maybe it will just infer that.
Mhm.
And it,
The one good thing about AI is that with anything that you create, if you create something once and if you save it, you can keep using it over and over again for different
right,
things.
because the context window is so large, it's learning about me as we go through this. So it knew that we were doing a cover letter, and I added my writing style guide. And we've gone from like, this sounds like AI wrote it to this sounds like 80 to 90% like Steve wrote it. So
And once again,
I'm
I would read through and make sure that things are as you say they are and that there's not any additional information that doesn't belong to you. And you can just remove that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got we went through a resume builder, we went through the cover letter. So what's next?
Well, I'm creating another level to my app where you can have an interview or sales, salary negotiation, and other parts of the job process, so that it can help you get through that part too. So
So
that's
once you
that's
got the
coming.
interview, you got some things coming. Right now with this process, how do I take what I've done here and then
Oh,
make
we
sure I
can.
can apply for a job?
So I would take copy and paste it into a Word document and format it as you want. Create a PDF, and then that's how you would upload it to
Okay,
wherever the job was. Like for example, through LinkedIn.
got it. So the resume, so further up in the chat, I'm just going to have it reprint it really quickly.
Mhm.
And then, so what you're saying is you take the resume that is created for you, copy and paste that into Google Docs, do your formatting so it looks and feels like the way you want it to.
Mhm.
And you've got a cover letter and a resume that have been optimized. And that is what you use to do the application on LinkedIn,
Or
correct?
any other platform that
Yeah.
accepts the PDFs. And PDFs
There,
is pretty standard.
okay. Now I'm gonna do one thing, and then I've got a really important question for you. So
Okay.
let's find my score again.
Okay.
The question I want to ask you is, with my updated resume and this new cover letter, it it's optimized for the job that we just found on LinkedIn.
Correct.
So how does this help get through the ATS software that previously would probably have blocked me right away or just rejected me?
Well, first, it's really taking all the keywords and phrases that the job description has, and is putting it into both the documents, the cover letter and the resume.
I see.
Then,
Got it. Oh,
yeah,
continue.
yeah, and then it is also taking transferable skills and working that into the cover letter so that it strengthens the application, because the ATS system is only looking for keywords. And so in the cover letter, if we can rewrite those keywords in a way that's also used for transferable skills, then that's the other level that it takes your resume to,
Oh, this
and your
is
cover
really
letter to.
powerful. So it's powerful for a logical way, which is it's aligning experience with keywords that it's looking for. But at a psychological level way, I think it's even more powerful because it's taking my job experience from roles that I was involved in years ago that I may not remember. And it's identifying those. Those are the transferable skills. For me, that would be managing teams and being responsible for sales quotas and reporting and forecasting. It's aligning those long ago skills and bringing them to the forefront in this cover letter, if I understand that right.
Yep, that's right. And that's why your score now has jumped up to 81.8.
Yeah. I have one more thing I'm thinking about asking it because
Mhm.
I think this is a common issue when we're developing our resume, which is no fun to write about yourself and it's hard to remember. So I'm going to ask it, can you help me extract some skills and experience from my previous jobs? And what I'm getting at here is if it does this, is it going to act the way that can perform like a Q&A with me or or prompt me to remember some things that may not
Right.
have been on the
At
PDF
the
in
top of your
LinkedIn.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like so it's breaking it down and
That's
then
true.
highlighting those. And okay, and that's good enough. I think if I were to continue going on this on my own outside of this interview, I would probably tell it to ask me some questions about these jobs. And where I think it's going is that as you validate all of these skills and experiences, this is a inventory of what you've done in your career. Where you can redo the process that we already did, which is write my resume with these updated skills and experiences.
And then you can also, if you're trying to redo your LinkedIn profile, you can use the same process
Got it.
so
Yes,
that it
because then you can
has
take
keywords
everything you
and
learned here and add that back to your LinkedIn profile.
Mhm.
Okay. We're just at the end of time. What I want to share with everybody who's watching this is this really amazing gesture that you've made. It sounds like people can get access to this custom GPT because you need people to use it. You want to help people to use it. And you're also developing an standalone product on your own. So this is kind of a wonderful product that's in the in-between phases where you're making available for people to use.
I am, and I'm making it available to use for free. I don't want anyone to have to pay for it other than to give me a review about how they like it, what they don't like. I really want to create something worthwhile. So I do have a form. It's a wait list, and I can get you into that wait list. All you have to do is provide your name and email address, and then I'll send you the link on how to gain access, and then you can enjoy it for free, at least to the end of the year.
I love
Christmas.
it. I love it so much, and I thank you so much. I know some people directly who are going through the job search. They're
It's
extremely
hard.
frustrated. You can find the form that Taireez just mentioned. We'll have that in the show notes, so you can get to it through the description of this video and just drop your name and email, and you'll get access to the custom GPT. I can't wait to hear what happens. I think this is going to change lives, and I think it's going to be empowering to people, especially those who are feeling frustrated and let down. This is going to be something that really lifts them up. And I think it's going to give them an insight into how to use AI in a way that's outside of what they might be thinking about. And
That's
especially
right.
or dabbling in it, they're going to save a ton of time just because
Ok
you shortcutted the entire process.
Now, that's the one caveat. You do have to have a paid version of ChatGPT in order to use it. But
Okay, duly noted.
yeah,
And I think
and one more thing, I do wanna stress that networking is key, though. You know, we can apply and apply and apply everywhere, but if that person doesn't know you personally, then it's a more difficult road to travel, and I think that networking is always gonna be the gold standard, so I want people to remember that.
got it. I agree. Takeaways, get your paid ChatGPT account. It's the best investment of $20 you'll ever make. You'll save so much time and you can save an hour per day just by starting to use AI, regardless of your use case. And as always, it's a tool to leverage what you do best, not a replacement. So get out there and network and utilize this as a way to elevate how you talk about your past experience. I have every expectation that I go through this. This is going to help me articulate what I do as I network in social situations. So even if I'm not looking for a job, this is a game changer for me right now.
And I want people to share this because they know someone who is struggling. That's the thing. And I'm giving it away for free till the end of the year. And then at the beginning of the year, then I'll have other uh, products that I will bring out. But up until then, I really want people to use it because I think during the Christmas season is when really the stress really gets to you financially. And if I can do something to alleviate that and make it free for you to use, then by all means, please use it.
Wonderful. Taireez, Thank you so much for having a chat with me today and sharing the behind the scenes look of what it is to go through the job application training that you went through and then turning around and building an AI tool to help people in the same situation. I appreciate it so much. And I think there are going to be a lot of people out there who are equally grateful. So thank you for your time and thank you for sharing your work.
And thank you so much for having me on and to share this with your community. I'm thrilled to be able to help people, as you know. Thank you.
You are welcome.